Bishop Pearson. Give it up for him, everybody.
Wow. All right. One of the many outstanding traits we have at All Souls is the variety and the diversity of music styles and genres, and some very professional people, some who play downtown at the Symphony Orchestra, some who teach, like Dr. Teresa is chairman of the music department at TU, Teresa Reed. Pastor David has masters in music, sacred music, and the raw talent of this church alone sets it apart, and our diversity as a church is increasing, and that's an important point. Next Sunday, Pastor Marlon will be sharing in this service, what he shared the last two services, including the humanist service and the traditional service about unity. And this is Vision Sunday, and we're rehearsing the vision and talking about what we see, what we feel, what we view. Our country is having to reassess itself in so many ways. This has been one of the most traumatic, if you will, election seasons and new presidencies with all of the accoutrements that go along with it. I don't know that we've sensed more tension as a nation, more polarization as a nation, and with the advent or the threat of war with North Korea. But I said some months ago, and I think it somehow maintains its truth, is that when there's incredible tension on the planet between the people in the collective consciousness, the universe itself responds. I think that we are very powerful energetically, that our energies can coincide to create a reality, one we like or dislike. And when the tensions are so great until there's almost hatred and we're threatening to drop bombs, a natural disaster occurs that causes us to instead have to drop blankets on one another. We go from dropping bombs to dropping blankets, and that seems the way the universe balances out the tensions, and we shift the energy, because pain knows no race and despair knows no race, or is not excluded to any particular race or racisms. It's the human race, and our people are suffering financially. There's a lot. We're comfortable today. We're in our church, we're gonna go have lunch or whatever you have after this, go home to your homes. But people will never, many millions will never live in the homes they used to live in just last week. Sometimes I wonder what it would be to have a tornado completely level the place than to have water lines and sludge and slime and mud, and some of the water is so diseased in Houston, and now it'll be parts of Florida, that just if a person happens to have a little nick, a little cut in their skin, they could develop bacterial infections that can be flesh-eating. And most of us are in positions where we have some kind of insurance or assurance with family and friends and community that will hang together, but when whole communities are wiped out and people who are struggling financially and they're in car lines trying to get someplace, they run out of gas, power runs out on their cell phones. One of our friends was so clinically depressed, apparently, she just dropped her name. Nobody can contact she and her daughter, who happens to be my goddaughter. We don't know where she is. She just snapped. And her parents and grandparents, nobody knows where she is. She said, I'm shutting down. We don't know if she made it out, where she is and the child. And this is one of millions of cases, at least hundreds of thousands of cases across the country, where people are feeling the pain of other people. And of course, hurting people hurt people. And some people can't handle drama and trauma like some people can. And so we need to be very, very conscious of that. And every time I've been watching the news, of course, constantly, but when I'm sitting in a chair or lying in my bed, I'm always extra grateful and sympathetic and compassionate for those. I have friends who were living in, one of my minister friends was living in a very lucrative area, high rent, high mortgage area in Houston, and he had to live with one of his members because the reservoir spilled over and the house was over $1 million, and they had to move out of their house into somebody else's house and go out on a boat That's hard for me to imagine, and us in Tulsa to imagine, because we've had all kinds of tornadoes around us, but not very many, and no lethal ones and terribly devastating ones here in many, many years, not within the Tulsa city limits. So it's hard to completely identify with it. But we need to be very concerned about that. And I do believe that that is the universe's response to the tensions that we have among ourselves as human beings. And we've been very angry, very hurt, very bitter, very Protestant and contestant and resentful and resistant of things that we don't understand. So we're going to humble down, calm down, and manage our fears and manage our pain in a way that is not destructive but constructive. Can I get a big amen on that? Where there is no vision, the scripture says the people perish. Helen Keller said the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Where there is no vision or no visuals, the people perish, but at the same time, where there are no people, the vision can perish. We're in a major thrust to redefine ourselves as a church. We've been here, the New Dimensions group has been here going on, was it 9 or 10 years, something like that? 9 years? That's what I was saying, 9 years. And we all came over on the boat together. 9 years as a homeless church, all of us going through various stages of reconsiderations, rethinking, reconsidering what we believe and why we believe it and how those beliefs add to or subtract from the quality of our lives. And we're still going through that constant curiosity about more than, other than, is this all that's to it? 64 years on the planet, I'll be 65 on my next birthday, and about 55 of those years, but in some form of active ministry, conscious ministry. Since I was a little kid, I felt a call. I've always had a vision. I've never struggled with visioning, imagining, imaging, seeing. That's part of the dream of the soul. The soul has eyes. The soul carries the syllabus for the life course and for the core structure of your life and the cause of your life. That's why going in keeps us from having to go without. We should find out, in the Greek word for soul is psyche, English psyche, the thought life, how you think, where the energy of thought, the seat of your reflective conscience, what you are aware of, sometimes as opposed to what you believe. We believe what we're taught and told. We know what we've experienced on a cellular and cellular level. Thoughts are powerful. Thoughts are creative. Thoughts are inventive. What you think about, you bring about. We create our own realities by the energy of thought. Now, we didn't know that, but as human beings, being human, we do use the power of our thought. Most of you last night created the parts of today by thinking that you would be here, what you're going to do in the afternoon, the evening, and the night. And you're thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow. Some of you are thinking, have thought 10 years ago where you'd be at certain aspects of your life today. And you're thinking about and creating, and there's energy in those thoughts and those ambitions and ambitions, the I am and the I aim, or the aim of the I, toward a particular specified or sometimes less specific general goal. But the human thrust of forwardness is natural. Managing and adding details and accentuations to that is an addendum that we continue to go through. So where there is no vision, the King James says that people perish. The NIV says the people cast off restraints. Where there is no visuals or no dreams or no focus or no aim, visions, the people cast off restraints and discipline. There is no focus. Notice how often you wonder what you are supposed to do rather than doing what it is you are committed to do. We spend a lot of time wondering, well, should I? I wonder if I should. I'm thinking about it. I wonder if what you think about this? Not only what you think about, but what do you know in your soul that you are supposed to do and you're doing it? How many of you are doing now some of what you thought you were supposed to do or going to do when you were a teenager? And those of you who are teenagers, all two of you, how many of you can say generally you are doing or have done a lot of what you dreamed about, thinking you were supposed to or wanted to or were called to or inspired to do as a child? Just raise your hand, just kind of generally. Okay, you created that. How many of you feel like you're not even close to it? You created that. Sometimes we get mixed up about what we're supposed to. I was talking to some man who's now made his transition in his hospital room. He was slowly leaving. He knew he had leukemia. He was only 67 years old, but he said to me, sort of out of the clear blue, one of my friend's dads, he said, you know what? If I knew what I was supposed to do and what my purpose was, I would do it. If I knew, he said, if I knew what God wanted me to do, I would have done it. I would do it. Well, that right there said to me that in his soul, he had a great big yes to creation, creator, God, source, spirit, destiny. And I said to his son, I said, he's probably going to go ahead and leave now, and he might get to try it again later. He may get to circle one more time, because he says if he knew. Well, he spent 67 years and he still doesn't know what he was supposed to do other than be a husband and have children. I don't think that's too little or too much. But he felt there was something else. There was some kind of addendum to his life. He played golf. He won money playing golf. He fished. He won money fishing. He won awards. He had fun. He drank and partied, and not carelessly, but he just had fun. And he sat and watched his favorite football team, and he would fuss and cuss and do what he wanted to do. And he wasn't sorry or apologetic about his life. He just said that statement to me: I wish I had vision. I'm this old and I don't see anything. Do you? Now we have a visionary. Our lead pastor has some ideas. He's an idea man. He's an adventurous man. He's traveled all over the world. He's ridden bikes and walked miles and climbed mountains, and he's always curious, and he's still young, and so he has a lot of energy in him. And I think he's a perfect leader for where we need to go, because he's got some energy. He got a little something other in there working and all. I couldn't follow a guy with no vision. No blind leading the blind. So what are we going to do now? What is something you are most, or at least more, intentional about? Intention is a strong purpose or aim accompanied by a determination to produce a desired result. What do you want? What do you feel? What do you see and sense and say and show? What's the energy? I often ask you, what's working for you? Or what's not working for you? Or what's working on you? What keeps you awake at night? What's the itch that you just have to scratch? What's the drive? What's the passion? What's the energizing force in your soul? And it doesn't have to be grandiose. It may be just changing the furniture around in your house, or deciding to fix something, or to get another degree, or to finish a degree, or to go check on somebody, or to get involved in some volunteer program, or to go back to. But you need to have, if you are alive, you have an itch that has to be scratched. When you lose your itch, we might as well bury you. But if you have the itch and don't have the scratch, you're miserable. I need itches that's scratchable. And sometimes the scratch, you ever had an internal scratch you just be slapping it and hitting it and trying to get in there? Well, I have both an external and an interior scratch. Both of them need my attention. Now, sight is external. I titled this Giving Sight to Vision. Giving sight. Sight is external. Vision comes from within. Sight is physical, material, matters. Vision is spiritual. And it does involve elements of faith. Perception is the ultimate reality, but not necessarily the ultimate truth. Talk to me, somebody. Sight sees reality, but vision sees truth and connects them in profoundly harmonizing and synchronizing ways. Your soul has eyes, and your soul has memory. Everybody look at me, eyes on this preacher just for a couple of seconds. Now close your eyes. Do you still see me? Or the image? Keep the eyes closed. Some of you, if I ask you what am I wearing, you'd remember. You'd have some of the color line. You still see me pretty clearly, almost as clearly as it was when your eyes are open. Now, what is the eye that is seeing without the visuals? How can you see me with your eyes closed? Your eyes or your soul has memory. Picture your living room right now, or your mom's face, or your office, or your job. Start seeing things with your eyes closed. You're not even geographically near or close to them right now, but you see something. That's the power of memory. And memory has intentions and creative abilities. You can see your past. Think of the house you were raised in, or the yard, or your grandmother's refrigerator, or the apartment next door, or if you were a traveling child. Think of something you haven't seen in a while. You might even be able to imagine the smell in that room. Now open your eyes and remember how powerful, creative, and visionary or visual your memory is. That's a sixth sense or seventh. It's another part of your energy, of your essence, that's very real, very alive, and very powerful. Sometimes you don't make things right. You have to see them right, because what you see is what you get. Vision is powerful, and all of us have it, and sometimes we have it more when we're asleep, with our eyes closed. And you're imagining this pulpit here is a lesser form, or it's a lesser form than its original idea. It has now been reduced to matter, to materialism. It's become material. So is the piano. Before anything that's happening, right now, we are all imagining, even if you've never been downtown to the spot where we're going to build, you've imagined where it might be and what it might look like. Or if you're wanting to buy another home, or change apartments, or buy a condominium, or another car, or another suit of clothing, please, some of you work on that. If you got in your mind something you want, that thing is pretty real to you. Some of you are not only visioning it, you're saving up money and planning it. You're planning to do better. You're planning to be better. Vision has powerful, elective, and selective energy. Vision can drive you to create amazing inventions of your own soul. That's how powerful you for your. When we're created in the image and likeness of divinity or divine mind, that means we're not only creative, we're created, we're creative, and we're creating. Right now, we as a community are creating a larger, more diverse, more cooperative, more celebrative community. We are creating in consciousness 4 square blocks of property downtown in the East Village that has an outstanding and immaculate and beautifully 21st century technically savvy church. That's the church of what's happening now. Not just the church of what happened yesterday and what is now, but what. I'm 64 and I'm more ambitious and focused and interested, and I think I'm actually interesting, because I had gotten bored with myself. I've been more interesting hanging around you. I'm more interested in myself because I'm finding compartments and aspects and departments of myself, and so that with doors that have been locked or closed at least, I didn't even bother to open them. Now I'm opening up all the doors, peeking in every room. I got so much inside of me to explore and to experience and to express and expose. I ain't gonna die soon. I'm fixing to change my insurance policy. It added 10 to 20 years to it. I thought I was out of here in my 80s. I done changed it all. I want to live a lot longer, and I'm going to live a lot longer, and I've never felt more energized through all the shift, S-H-I-F-T, that I've been through. I have been through shift happens. My shift hit the ceiling and the fan and all, and I'm getting my shift together, and I feel, holy shift. I mean, I feel so good about this. Give somebody a high five and say, holy shift, yours is. Tell them, get your shift together, and get it together now. Now, resistance is a form of inauthenticity, because resistance is an attempt to view yourself outside your human nature or your authentic self. Your authentic self is your authorized self, or your authored self, not edited. Some idea sponsored and spawned your existence on this plane net or plane of consciousness. You are here with intention. You're here because you're supposed to be here. Your authentic self is your authored self, your living and enlivened self. One of my favorite mystic theologians and scholars, Howard Thurman, said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. What the world needs is people who have come alive. Your vision, your ability to see and sense and say and visualize and imagine. You're creative and creating, right? You are actually creating what's going to happen in the next hour. You're very conscious that I'm almost through. I am too. I'm so glad that now we go to church, that our services, new D folks know our service was 3.5, 4 hours. Then we hung around the church. They had nothing to do but hang out, and we were scared to sin and scared to do anything fun. So we had to hang out with our little boring selves and make ourselves interesting, and we did. I didn't miss the other world. I was so happy with where I was then. I'm happy with where I am now. I've evolved to where I am now. I don't have to be what I used to be. I'm where I am now, and I'm very happy with it. The Swami Paramananda said, self-realization means that we have been consciously connected with and to our source of being. Once we have made this connection, nothing can go wrong. When you are connected directly to your source of being, the syllabus of your life, and you follow the syllabus of the soul, or the suke, or the psyche, or the logic of your thought, the logistics of thought, psychology. If you are into that, and also the philosophia, the your friendliness towards Sophia, which is feminine wisdom, or wisdom. A person who knows how to do a thing can always have a job. The person who knows why to do that thing will usually be his boss or hers. Jesus once said, I no longer call you my servants or slaves. Why? Because a servant doesn't know his master's business. I call you my friends, my partners. You own stock in the company. We don't want you to just be members here. We don't want you to just be members. We want you to be active participants in what we are, not just what we do. We want you to own stock in the company. We want you to feel the energy of the larger vision of who we are becoming. We've been in this location 40 some years. It's time to make a move, but the geographical move also will affect us psychologically. Before too long, you'll see pictures of some of the plans and the ideas about a new structure. A beautiful library, what we're going to do with the children's area, the youth area, how we're going to park, what the building is going to be. This is a nice little quaint, cute little white church. Been white all the year. I've been looking at some of the stuff Pastor's thinking about me. He's got ideas. I said, wow. I mean, it's a diversity. We don't know exactly what, but whatever it's going to be cool, and we're going to be a part of it. Talk to me, somebody. We've got vision. So, the part of your soul, and I would ask you, what is the part of your soul or of yourself that is most profoundly intentional? I often say tension creates attention, which creates intention. What are you intentionally doing or aiming to do? The book, The Power of Intention, one of my favorites, I read it many, many years ago by Wayne Dyer, says intention is the force in the universe that allows the act of creation to take place. I'll say it again. Intention is the force in the universe that allows the act of creation to take place. We need to perceive intention not as something we do, but as an energy we are part of. We must begin to see intention as a field of energy that we can access to begin co-creating our lives, both individually and collectively. But we must see ourselves as a part of a vision to be, build, and become a kind of spiritual community that Tulsa has been waiting for. I've been here 47 years. I've lived in this town 47 years. And I see, and I've been involved in the religious faith community, big time. from the biggest mega churches, and this is the largest UU church on the planet, the one we are a member of. This is the first actual mega church within the Unitarian Universalist communion and community. We are a mega church. Now, that's not something we're bragging about, but we're not complaining about it either. And we're growing in diversity. We're growing in creative inventions. We're not just going to fit with the normal tradition or traded down ideologies and ideas. We're going to expand. We're going to experience and experiment. Everybody say expand, experience, and experiment. We are science bridging spirituality. We are a science. Anton Mesmer, who was a Unitarian brilliant scholar, said one time that Jesus is the man, Christ is the science. Christ is the knowing. Science means knowledge. Conscience means with knowledge. In Latin it would be conscientia. Con is with the science. You're very profoundly scientific, and that's how your spirituality finds its expression. Not so much in what you believe, that's religion, but what you know in your soul. That's the part of you that energizes you the most. You're limited in your belief, but there is no limit to what you know. Knowledge is infinite. It has always existed, it will always be when you connect into your knowing self. My God. It's taken me at least 50 years to start considering the possibility that I know something beyond what I believe. That I know something beyond what Mama Nim taught me. And Grandmama Nim. And the whole group behind me that taught and told me all that stuff, we're finding now because of the internet and again, the apple that has a bite out of it. My apple got a bite out of it. Some knowledge of good and evil in there. Or the good in evil, or the evil in good, or the good that is evil, or the evil that is good, because in the creative genius of God, good and evil might not have the same connotations that we consider them on this human level. What's evil to you may not seem evil to God, but we've gotten it mixed up. But anyway, the apple has a bite out of it. I didn't realize that I'd already bought an iPad, an iPhone, and I was in the iCloud. Before I realized, all y'all weren't about the mark of the beast. If you got a cell phone, you marked. So stop running around being scared of the end of the world. It is an end of one. In fact, the Bible never says end of the cosmos. It says end of the age or aeon, end of the eon. Even Jesus said, I'll be with you to the end of the aeon, to the end of an age. We're actually moving into a post-Christian era. Not a post-Christ era, but a post-Christian era. The religions of the world are about to shift, and people are moving beyond. The millennials are not interested in our religions. They got a different vision. They march to a different drum beat. In fact, they're creating their own drum and their own beat. And I like that. Wrap your arms around yourself. Where there is no vision, people cast off restraint. I think a new spiritual and scientific discipline will occur in the corporate house of all souls because we have fresh vision. We see things differently. We see ourselves. I know I do. If you can renew and re-know yourself in your 60s like I have, then anybody can. Many years, for the last 10 years of my ministry as a local pastor of a mega church, and hosting the conferences and doing all the things, I was bored for the last 10 years. And I couldn't figure out. I was like a chef preparing a meal that everybody enjoyed but me. It's terrifying. Because I couldn't figure out why I wasn't interested in my stuff. I could preach blindfolded and walking backwards. I had the most prolific staff you could imagine. I basically showed up on the weekends. People gave me a lot of credit for Zeus. All I did was show up. I had people that were volunteering, taking vacation time off, working till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep. I select the speakers, and most of the music David or somebody would suggest to me. I showed up on Sundays. The ushers, the greeters, the children workers, everything was done. I only took counseling from those who recommended me by the lieutenants of the ministry. It was such a well-oiled and well-greased machine. I had worked myself out of a job. I had lost my energy. And I couldn't get it. And I would drive home so empty, only because I was so full of that. And when you get so full, you become empty again. And I couldn't understand the emptiness because the cup was full. And now the cup is empty and filling, but it's way down here somewhere. So I'm so welcoming to the water, to the moisture. I think this age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is a water and wind sign, I think, and I said this some months ago, that Aquarius, Neptune, Jupiter, they're going to announce their presence, that this age, the age of Pisces, is Jesus. Jesus said in the night of his Last Supper, go into the street, when you see a man carrying a water pitcher or a pitcher of water, follow him into that house. That's a reference, in my opinion, to the house of Aquarius. He said, because men in the ancient day didn't carry water pitchers. Men didn't collect. It was the woman at the well, the woman of Samaria. It was always women. That men were, hunting big game and fishing. But as far as going to the well, traditionally in the ancient world, that was something that females did. But you're going to find a man doing something that females do. Men will become in touch with their feminine aspects and bring moisture. But that's a sign of the times, that all this rising sea line, coastlines, and all the water, as horrible as it is. I wonder what Franklin thinks now. He said it was such a blessing for it to rain in Trump's inaugural, and now they wanted to build a wall, and all they got is a wall of water. Pastor's going to come and make some reference to our offering. I was just thinking in the last service, we need about $60,000 to finish this year out because of some situation he will explain in just a moment. But if that's 1,000 people giving $60 in the next 30 days, or even today, or 60 people giving 1,000, I'm going to do 1,000. I want to commit to that today. Even though I got a kid going to school and I got a lot of other things going, but let's get that 60,000 behind us, and not in a mean way, but just fill the gap. Let's show our commitment. Let's see the vision. Let's be the vision. Let's make this thing happen. It's very powerful, very positive. No looking back. Everybody say, no looking back. We're on our way to a wealthy place, right? In every part of our being. Let's receive our pastor this morning.
Because I'm sometimes in the other service when he's speaking, so it's such a joy to be in here and hear you talk and be inspired by your who was one of the most visionary people in the world was Helen Keller. She couldn't see, she couldn't speak, she couldn't hear, but she found a way to talk and write books and inspire all of our lives because she had such a strong vision. She was going to find a way to get it out. So vision's not about what we see with our eyes, it's about what we see in our hearts. And I want to just tell you one thing before we take this offering, and that is Dr. Wolf, who is the minister emeritus of this church, he told me some years ago, if you've ever seen him, he looks like Moses, the pictures of Moses, although Moses was probably a little darker skinned than he is, but he's got this beautiful beard. And he said when he first grew that beard in this church, there was a lady who said, Dr. Wolf, I can't stand that beard. You need to take that beard off. And so she said, I'll give $10,000 to this church the day you shave off that beard. He still has that beard on today. And I'll tell you, he said to me, Marlon, there will be people who will tell you, I will give you money if you do this. And he said, and the day you do that, you become a prostitute and you're no longer a minister. And he said, the day you do that, he said, this pulpit has moral authority about it. And we need that moral authority. We need it when things happen like neo-Nazis get into the streets, or when people try to take rights away from women or gay people or anything. We need the moral authority of that pulpit, and that moral authority gets diminished the moment one of our ministers does something for money that they don't believe in. So that's what's happened. We right now, some folks have pulled out their money because they don't like what we're saying in the pulpit. And the thing is, that costs us $60,000 that we can't make up between now and the end of the year. We couldn't cut enough staff and cut enough programs to make that up. So that's where we need your help. We need everybody to give what you can. We're going to fill in the gap, and we're going to show that this church is never beholden to anybody for their money. And that's true for our own lives. We need to all live like that. We need to all know, whether it's our employer or whoever it is, that we're not going to be beholden to anybody. We're not going to compromise our integrity and our values for anybody, because we answer to a higher calling. So your gift today, if it's $1 or if it's $1,000, your gift today is going to make a huge difference in the life of this church. And I just have faith and I have trust that we will make up the difference, and we will move forward, and we will build this church downtown, and nobody's going to stop us. All right. Thank you very much. I love you.
Let's now receive our offering.
You're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed
and be a blessing.